Good afternoon, everybody. We are back again. I'm here, Matilda's here. We are ready to go with another Scratch project. It's been another week. We made it to Friday again. Well done, everybody. Exciting news you've missed since we were last here is Matilda cut my hair this week. It doesn't look too frightening. She wants to do it again. We need to have a discussion about whether it's going to happen again. But otherwise, I think we are doing good. We have got another couple of Redgaters with us today to help out with your questions. Would you two like to introduce yourselves quickly?
Hi, I'm Sophie. I'll be in the chat, so any questions along with Brenton, just let us know.
Yeah, same here. I'm Brenton. We'll be answering your questions in the chat and following along.
Amazing. Right, let me share my screen and we can get going. So today we are going to do the third lesson in the intermediate level. Now, this one is a little bit trickier than the ones we've been doing before, but I am confident you've all been picking up skills as we go. We are going to create a cat-themed game, which is the thing Matilda is very happy about because we like the cats, don't we? So let me demo what we're going to create. Do you want to play the game? So let's show people what we're going to make. That's perfect. So for the adults watching us, this looks a lot like Lemmings, but it's called cats. So our cats fall from the sky, they land on the blue road and they head to the exit door. But there are loads of different traps and things to fall down in this game. So they could fall down here, they might go off the edge of the screen. So there are lots of little things. We've got a code in here to make sure this works. Now, what we're going to do is build on work that we've done in previous sessions. So there'll be lots of familiar code in here, but we're also going to introduce a few new concepts as well. We're going to introduce pens into Scratch, which we haven't done before, which is a way to start to draw onto the screen. We're going to be using forever loops, which is a more advanced version of the if statements we've been using before. And we're also going to try doing some conditionals around repeat until and doing things like and or and not. So we're just starting to build up these concepts a little bit as we go. Once again, Sophie and Brenton around. If you need questions, if you need some help, they will try and help you out. Everything we're doing is being filmed and put on YouTube. So if you get lost or you get stuck, go back and watch the video afterwards. And we've shared links to the instructions as well if you just need to go and find a little piece of it that you missed out. So with that, we shall begin. Hopefully you've all found a link to the project and you've got it open now. We've got this lovely blank Scratch canvas. This has got a few things built up for us already. We've got our cat sprite down here, we've got a pen sprite, and we've got a door all ready to go. The first thing we're going to want to do is add the pen block. So we're going to add a new extension to Scratch that is the pen. So down on the bottom left of your screen, we can add an extension. And here are all the extra things we can start to build in. They're kind of more complex things in Scratch that we don't put there by default, but might be quite fun to play with. So let's pick the pen from the list. And what you can see has happened is over on the left-hand side, we've got a new extension down here called pen and some new blocks of code we can use to actually start to interact with the pen. So let's write some code. The first thing we're going to do is set the pen up ready to go. We're going to pick a color, we're going to make sure the canvas is blank to begin with, and we're going to set the size of the pen. So the first job is to make sure your pen sprite is selected. So we're adding code to the pen sprite. Once we've got that, we want to add the place where we always start, which is when the green flag is clicked. Now, what do we want to do once the flag is clicked, Donna?
We want to go to pens, and it should be turquoise.
Yep. And we are going to set the color of the pen to match the blue of the background that we've already got on our stage.
And you should know how to do that.
So for those of you that have been in the previous sessions, we've done this a few times. For those of you that haven't, there's this little eyedropper tool which allows you to pick a color from your stage. Now, it's super important we do this because if you saw when I was demoing the game, when Tilda drew the line, the cat stopped on the blue line. And the reason it did that is because the code we're going to write is telling the cat sprite to look for that blue colour. So let's make sure they're the same colours. You got it?
Yeah.
Right, let's close that. Select our colour.
Okay.
Right, so the next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that our canvas is completely blank when the game starts. So if we've played it before, maybe there'll already be pen marks on the screen. We want to lose those every time we start a new game. So what did you add?
So at the top of pen, there should be erase all, and you have to drag it into your piece of code.
So when green flag is clicked, set the pen colour to blue, erase everything that's already on the screen, and then finally, let's set up the right size of pen.
So down at the bottom of pen is a set pen size 2. It should say 1 or 5, and it should be 5.
Right, so let's change the size of our pen, shall we? There you go. Big size. So you can pick any size you like here. Obviously, the bigger the pen is, the bigger line it's going to draw. Smaller pen might be harder. I guess we'll see how it goes. Right. Everybody with us so far? Let's just have a quick look in the chat. Okay, looks like the others are handling this well. I'll stop reading chat messages. Right, now we're going to start to add to our code to make the sprite actually follow our mouse pointer around so we can do some drawing. And this is going to be the first use of our forever loop. So forever is a new control that we want to add over in the orange control section. I know you know that.
But no one else knows.
Go on then, you drop it in. Down the bottom, please. Got it. Let's do this quick. So the forever loop is going to tell our sprite that this should happen for the entire game. So all of the time the game's running, do whatever's inside here. And what we want the pen tool to do is to follow our mouse pointer. Now, this is something that we know about from previous sessions. We head over into the motion section. There's a go-to command that we've used before for other things, but you can also tell it to go to the mouse pointer. So we can say forever, so for the whole time the game is running, make sure the pen goes to the mouse pointer. Let's give that a test, shall we? Perfect. So you can see that our pen is following the mouse. What happens if you try and draw, Tilda? Nothing. Why is that?
Because you haven't done the right code.
Cool. Right. Let's stop the game and add some more code. So now we want to add some behavior in here to say, if the mouse is being pressed, draw with the pen. If it's not being pressed, then don't draw with the pen. Cool. So let's add an if then else control. That's the one, and you can go underneath the go-to mouse pointer. Perfect.
There you go. The biggest block of code ever.
So this is a really useful thing. This comes up all the time. So what this little block here will do, will say, if something happens, then do this, else do something else. So what we're going to write here is, if the mouse button is being pressed, draw with the pen. If the mouse button is not being pressed, then don't. Sound kind of straightforward?
Yeah.
Excellent. Right. So we go back into sensing, which we've done before, and we say, if the mouse is down, that's the language that Scratch uses for saying the mouse button is being pressed. If the mouse is down, then what do we want to do?
So we go to pen and we pick pen down and put it there.
A little bit short. Or the camera's a bit high, one of the two. Right, so if the mouse is down, then pen down. Else, what do we want to do the rest of the time?
Put your pen up.
Perfect. Right, let's give it a save, let's give it a test. And test. It's looking good, lift the mouse up. Don't do so much of that. That looks good. Can you draw the cat?
Yeah.
Go on. Looking like ears. Okay, just while we finish off our beautiful cat artwork, I give you all time to catch up. Lovely. So the other thing I want to test while we're here is what happens when we stop the game.
Nothing.
Which is exactly what we expect, right?
Yeah.
But when we start it again, we expect all of this artwork to disappear. So
Gone. Okay, cat.
clear.
I'm not good at drawing cats.
I think it was a good effort. Right, so that's looking good. Our pen is all set up. It is ready to go. Next, we're going to move on to our cats. So over in our sprites panel, we've already got a cat set up. This is the guy we're going to use. So if you click on him, we'll start to write some code for this sprite. Now, what we need for this game is a bit different to things we've done before. We don't want just one cat here. We want to create a whole load of cats. So in Scratchland, what we're going to do is we're going to clone the cats. So we're going to write a piece of code to say, don't just give me one cat. I want one cat to appear every 3 seconds.
Every 1 second.
That'd be pretty fast. Go on then, you can do this bit.
Yeah.
Cool. So remember to have your cat sprite selected before we write any code. We've got that, yeah. Back to our events.
Events. When the flag is clicked.
Now the first thing we're going to do is a little bit different to normal. We don't want the cat to show up immediately. We want it to be hidden from the screen to start with and then start to appear once we're ready. So the first thing we're going to do is when the green flag is clicked, we want to hide the cat. So hidden away in the looks section is a really little command down near the bottom that says hide. So let's hide that cat from the stage to begin with until we're ready for them. Now we're going to write the code to clone the cats.
So we have to go to control and pick a forever block. Forever. And now we have to say create clone of myself. And now we have to say wait 3 seconds.
That's right. And that one's up the top of the page.
And now I'm going to try it.
Before we try it, let's just quickly walk people through the code we've created. So what is happening here is we're saying when the green flag is clicked, hide the cat to start with, and then using another forever loop, we're saying for the whole of the game, create a clone of myself. So that is the cat sprite. You see, you can also do this for other sprites as well, which might be interesting for challenges we'll say later. But then wait 3 seconds before you do another one, because this little loop here is going to keep running all the time the game is running. So the shorter that time, the faster the cats are going to appear.
I'm 3.
Go on then, give it a test. See
try.
what happens.
Can I draw?
Yep.
See, it's very slow.
Or something else
Ah,
happening here. We haven't actually told the cats what to do, have we? what we've done is we've said hide the cats and then create loads of them. So somewhere in the background, somewhere inside the computer, hundreds and hundreds of cats are being created. We haven't told them what to do yet. It's okay. We'll let them out later. So now, let's write some code to tell cats what to do. Thank you. Right, so back in our control block, down near the bottom, we've got a little block that says, when I start as a clone. So this is really important because it means we can write code for all of the clones. So every single clone of the cat will use the same code here. So they'll all use exactly the same
Can see
behavior.
your head now.
So either you need to grow or I need to shrink.
You need to
I
see.
reckon one is more likely than the other. Right, so when I start as a clone, first thing we want to do is we want this to appear. So let's do exactly the opposite of how we started the previous block. And we're going to say show. So when I start as a clone, I'd like to show up.
I like to show up.
And now, hang on, let's do a little bit more first. We want the cat to fall from the top of the screen. And the condition we're looking for here is, what do we want to happen when it hits the blue? What is the condition that means you can stop falling? So we know that the cat is going to fall until it hits something blue. So here is the next of our new blocks we're going to introduce. It's another control block, and it's repeat until. So what this block does is it says, keep doing this behavior until the condition is met. So in our control session, we are looking for repeat until. Right, do you want to do the next one?
Can we try?
Nothing will happen yet. So let's repeat until it is touching blue. So hopefully we're all familiar with this, which is in our sensing section.
Sensing.
That's right. And then let's pick the color again. And we know our pen is drawing the same blue as the background. So when I start as a clone, I'd like you to appear, and then until you touch blue, I want you to fall. So over in the motion section, no, it's because we need one more block of code, because at the moment you see it says repeat until touching blue, but we haven't told it what to repeat. We need it to fall until it touches the blue. So we want to say, change the Y coordinate. That's the one, almost. Let's get it inside the repeat. Okay, if you just disconnect it.
How?
So drag the blue one, that's it, down a bit. Bit more. There we go, and then try moving the repeat block, and we'll see if we can separate that off.
Repeat.
So this one here, just drag that. There we go, and then we can put that back on the show. And then let's put Y inside the block. So when I start as a clone, show the cat, and until it touches blue, I'd like you to fall. So we add a minus number in here.
You tap it on.
Tap -2. So every time it'll show until it touches the blue, it'll fall. Testing time. Ready?
Yeah, I love testing. Go. Dinner.
There's a cat.
Woo!
Keep going until it touches blue. There's another cat. Touch blue.
That's just a giant circle.
So what we've done now is created a massive pile of overlapping cats, which is good. It's definitely progress, but they have not made it to the door yet. So we need to do a little bit more work. The next thing we're going to do is get this cat moving along the screen, so moving from left to right. Ready? Ready. So let's add some new code. we need another forever block because this is behavior that we want to continue for the whole of the game. So what I'm going to do is just move our repeat condition out the way for a second so we can replace it with a forever. So back across into control, and I'll pluck out my forever. And then just put that repeat until back inside it. So now we're setting up the kind of behavior that we want to happen for the entire game. So all the time the game is running, forever, we want the cats to fall until they touch something blue. What we also want them to do is to move along from left to right. So we're just going to add in another motion, another move. So similar to the way we're falling down, we're also going to move it along. So we are going to pick the very top block here, which is move 10 steps. And we're going to insert it right at the top of our forever block, just here. So when I start to clone forever, I want to move 10 steps, and all the time it is not touching blue, I want it to fall. Let's give that a try and see what happens, shall we?
It's kind of running.
It's a bit jerky, isn't it?
Runny.
And it kind of looks like he's just sliding along the screen rather than actually running, doesn't it? Hang on.
I want to change the number.
What's going to happen if you change that number?
I'm going to go faster.
Give it a go. Okay, so we're creating a lot more cloned cats now. Nice.
I like it.
Right, so there are a number of problems we need to deal with here. One of them sits next to me. But first, what I wanted to do is show you some costumes. So back in lesson 1, we tried out some costumes with our boat game, and we made a few different looks. Our cat sprite already has a couple set up. So I'm going to switch over into the costumes. And you can see we've got 2 here already. Costume 1 is the one that we're using right now.
Don't split them up.
Costume 2 is a little variation on the first. And what we're going to do is do something that we've done before, which is switch costumes in code, but we're going to automate it, because if we very quickly switch between the costumes like this, you see it looks a little bit like our cat is running.
It looks a little bit like your cat is like lunging and not lunging, not lunge.
Lunge, not lunge. Maybe it's a yoga cat. So we don't need to change anything with our cat sprites right now. Obviously, you're welcome to colour them in or give them clothes or do anything you like later, but we'll come back to that. What we want to do is write some code to change the costume. So we're going to add another looks control and say, after it's moved a little bit, let's move on to the next costume. So that is a block just here, and I'm going to drop it down under here. So as long as it's not falling, once it's moving, it'll switch to the next costume, and then it'll go round this loop again really, really fast. So what we're going to do is just slow it down a little bit, because obviously the computer will complete this code as quickly as it possibly can, which is probably a bit faster than an actual cat can run on 2 legs.
Wait, can I see how fast it is?
No.
Please.
Wait. Goes into our block, and we're thinking 0.1 seconds is probably where we want to be. Let's see how that cat runs, shall we? It's falling. Running.
Jump. Oh, it needs to jump.
Lovely work. Right, so this is starting to come together now. We're getting closer to having a game. We've got some rules coming in here. We know how the cats are behaving. The next little piece of code I would like us to work on is, can you see what's happening in the far right of the screen?
Oh yeah.
We have got another pile of cats, haven't we?
Yeah.
So
I do not like piles of cats.
we need to deal with the pile of cats. You could. We're not officially recommending you eat cats.
No.
How many cats are you eating?
1800.
Wow, that's a lot of cats.
Because
I'm sure it'll come back to you. You think about it. It's in there somewhere. Right. So to do this, we're going to add another condition. We're going to do another one of these repeat until blocks, because this behavior is correct until it gets to the edge. So actually, we can replace our forever block with a repeat until. So we can say, repeat this code until it gets to an edge, and then do something else. So just like we did before, we're going to move this forever block out the way.
eats cats and we eat.
Pardon?
What's the animal that eats cats and we eat?
I don't know. What eats a cat and we eat them?
I eat. Or you eat.
What are you thinking of?
Cow.
Do cows eat cats?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It's possible.
A cow has licked a cat before.
Right. Shall we go back to our code?
Yeah.
We probably should, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Right. So let's find another repeat until. So over in our control section, when I start to clone, show, and then repeat until. And the condition we want to add in here is until it's touching an edge. So in sensing, we've got our touching block again. This time we're after edge. Sensing, repeat until I touch the edge. Then let's get back to our forever block. We'll take the code out from inside it. We'll get rid of forever.
Why?
Because we don't want it to go forever, do we? We only want this to happen until the cat gets to the edge of the screen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So let's plop that back in there.
Circle.
I noticed. Right. So now this code we've written will happen until it's touching the edge. But we want something to happen after that. So once it touches the edge, what's it going to do? We're going to add in this last thing. That's it. We want it to disappear.
Dun, dun, dun.
Into control. And delete this clone.
And now we try it.
Let's give it a go, see what we got. So
So
the behavior we're testing for here is what happens when the cat gets to the edge.
It's not touching my that line.
It's too high. So that's perfect. The cats disappear when they get to the edge. Looking good. Right, let's walk through the code, shall we? So when I start to clone, show. So for every single cat that falls, this is the code that it's going to follow. Until the cat touches the edge, we want it to move 10 steps. Until the cat touches blue, we want it to fall by 2 steps each time. Then we want it to change costume, a little pause before it switches costume again. And then if it hits the edge, we want it to delete. Make sense so far?
Yeah.
Excellent. I know. Right. Let me show you the next behavior that we want to fix. Let's let our cats fall. But this time, we're not going to draw a line. We're going to let them fall into the pit.
Oh, yeah, we get to eat them.
So we have another condition here, which is not quite right. We don't want our cats stuck in the pit. And
We want them to jump out.
we do, or disappear if they get to the bottom.
Jump out.
So this block of code here, it says repeat until touching color blue is what controls the cat falling. So we know that the code says the cat is going to fall until it touches blue. But actually, we've discovered there's another condition here that's kind of important. So actually, if the cat falls all the way to the bottom of the screen, to the edge, we also want it to disappear. So we're going to add some more code here. So let's just pull out the touching colour blue. And we're going to go into our operators now and add an OR statement. So these are pretty cool, these are powerful things. This is a way that we can set up multiple conditions for the behaviours. So we know we want the cat to fall until it touches blue, but also we've decided we wanted to do that until it touches an edge. So we drop back over into sensing and we let it touch the edge too. Perfect. You all right there? Excellent. Do another save. Come on, pause for a second before we move on.
It's sort of red, okay. Pink down there, red up here. Yeah, it's definitely. If you look up from here, standing up, it's sort of pink down there, red up here, and orange right there.
Right. So let me show you something else. Start our cats again. This time I'm going to do a very badly designed bridge.
Yeah, you should not do that.
And here is the next problem with our game. Cats can't run through there. So
why?
Because this is rock. It's solid blue rock. It's a very special kind of rock.
Why?
It's really unusual. We don't see many blue rocks.
Can you get me one?
We've got one here.
I mean a real one.
Right. Let's add, if you can find one later, another repeat until block, so we can start to deal with that behaviour. So we're going to add this in, hopefully just above next costume. Or I'll move a couple of things around. Right. So the way we're going to handle this is we are going to look for when our cat is not touching blue. So another operator, this time not. So repeat until not touching blue. Into sensing. Touching colour. Thank you.
Hello.
Right, your go. So we are looking now, cat just to jump up a little bit. So we're looking for change Y by 2. Where would you find that, Tilda? You talk through what you're doing?
So you go to motion, the blue section, and we find change Y by, and then we put 2 in it. Where is it?
So into our repeat block. Perfect.
Why did she do -2?
Won't get it to the right place. 2. Cool.
Let's try it.
Right, hang on, before we try it, let's just move this code back over into the middle so people can see what we've been working on.
But how did it move?
Just drag around the screen. Right, let's give it a test and see what's going on.
We should glow it. Where are our cats?
Where are our cats? Ah, this is interesting. Right, so this is something that some of you may have experienced as well. What's happening is our cat is already touching the edge of the screen. I can see this, but if I click on my cat sprite, can you see there's a little blue square that flashes at the bottom right of the stage, which is where my cat was left. And because my cat is already touching an edge, it's never actually going to complete the rest of the program. So I need to set the position of the cat, its X and Y values. I can do that in here. And the numbers I want are 204 and 160. So now my cat should be in a slightly better place.
Where's Turtle?
Turtle is here. I thought you were distracted, so I put him down. You can sit and watch us. Right, let's give it another go. Okay, cat is falling. Cat is
You're so far
running.
down.
What happens? He jump up. He jumps up.
Can I go?
Go on.
I'm going to draw it really far down. Start. Start.
Do you think that'll work?
Yeah. See?
Ooh, big jump.
Yeah.
Nice.
I knew it would work. Why do we always have to touch blue to not die?
Because that's the colour of our land, isn't it? We could redraw this background to be a different colour or have different
I make it
obstacles.
rainbow.
We could definitely make it rainbow.
Yeah.
That would make the code more complicated though, wouldn't it? Which could be interesting. We could definitely work it out.
Yeah.
Right, so we are going to do one more thing this afternoon, which is we want to create an ending condition. We want our cats to get to the door because that's how they win.
Door.
So the kind of behaviour we're
Are they
looking
going
for.
inside?
Yes.
Oh. Why would cats want to go inside?
Why would cats want to go inside a house?
Okay, because they don't have any collars. So they don't belong to them.
Maybe we should get them collars.
Yeah.
Yeah? Right.
Can I give them collars?
So the behaviour we're going to add is an if condition. So if the cat gets to the door, we'd like it to do something. And for the final time today, inside our control section, if, then let's drop that down here. Do you want to do the sensing for me? So, sensing, we want to say if the cat is touching the door.
Where's that piece of code?
Ooh, we moved a few things. That's okay, it's just there. It's connected back up. Always good with the world. So, sensing.
What do we have to do? Touching door.
Yes.
Alright. Touching door. Touching door. Touching door. Touching door. Touching door.
There it is. Right, so if the cat is touching the door, we would like it to do a couple of things. We want it to play a sound, which is something we've done before.
Wait, we didn't.
We did sounds in week 1. Remember our boat made sounds? We recorded them. Remember, people can't hear you if you whisper in my ear. Okay. Right, so over in our sounds panel, we've got a sound already set up, so ready to go. We've got a meow sound set to play. So start sound, meow,
Can we do two sounds?
if you want, and you can get it into the if block. That's it. Down the bottom. Perfect. So, if the cat touches the door, we want it to meow.
And I want to make a no sound.
And finally, when it touches the door, we
Ding
want to
dong.
delete it as well to make it look like it's gone back inside its house.
I want to play ding dong first. Because then the cat can ring my doorbell.
We could do that.
But I'm not going to do that.
And that
I'm just going to give it close.
brings us neatly on to the final thing. So this is where we're going to stop this afternoon. We've got through our game. The cat will follow our line. We can climb over the obstacle, and when it hits the door, it'll go inside.
Where's the oops?
There are loads more challenges you could do here to make your game better. Last week, loads of you did a whole load of extra things and sent us in copies of your games, which was awesome. Because of rules, I can't call out people individually for what they've done, but we've seen some really cool things on Scratch that you all created. So try and challenge yourself here. What other things can you do? In the instructions, there's a part we skipped over, which is you can add a counter to count up how many cats go through. Maybe you can make them faster, maybe you could make them slower. Maybe you could do different backgrounds or change the location of the door to make it a bit harder. There's loads of things you could do to make the game a little bit harder for yourselves, and we would love to see them. So let's stop. Good job, everybody. That was 40 minutes, which I think is the longest one we've done so far. I hope everybody kept up and we answered your questions. As soon as I close the webinar down, you'll get the usual feedback form. Please tell us how we're doing, what we could do better, what kind of things you'd like to see us do next time. All of the feedback is great. Otherwise, we'll love to see what you managed to create with this. Thanks for your time this afternoon, everybody. Have a lovely weekend. It looks like it's going to be a sunny one, and goodbye.